ask Leila Naja Hibri from Australian Fashion Council. She put a question to us, and I might ask her to play it back. So over to you, Leila.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks so much. That was an incredibly fascinating session and panel. And I'm so glad we're talking about the ecosystem and the wider, I guess, skill sets required for the manufacturing industry beyond the hard skills, as they call them. And to that point, I talk about and ask a question about women in the industry. So the government's apprenticeship and training subsidies have been a great support to the construction and other male-dominated industries. What is your opinion about extending the apprenticeship and traineeship model to other industries, such as the fashion and textile industry, which would not only boost participation in apprenticeships, but also increase vocational pathways for women in manufacturing?
That has to be, Jennifer has to answer that, don't you, Jennifer?
Sure, happy to. Look, I think it's a really, really good suggestion, a really good point. I think a couple of things I'd suggest is we've got to sort of start to really map out what are the skills and capabilities needed in this sector, because there is a kind of old mindset about this. And actually, if you kind of go into any value-added textile production facility, you see a very sophisticated factory floor, if I may use that expression. And I think we need to kind of recast the opportunities there. Secondly, to Ines' point, I think, you know, we've just got to do better at the years 10, 11 and 12 in getting young people to think through a set of pathways. So Penny Shergold and I recommended that when you left school, your high school certificate, given I'm in New South Wales, was made up of three things. It was made up of your ATARs, it was made up of your work experience, and it was made up of your kind of broader competencies, your work-related competencies, and that sort of forms the basis of your skills passport. So we've got to kind of make sure that young people are then given the right info about what pathways they should get. And then to your point, we've got to start thinking about the apprenticeship model much more broadly. And I would include in that a digital apprentice. You know, why aren't we saying, well, you know, there's a digital apprentice model? So I think your idea is a really, really important one. But again, that's about breaking up the system a bit, because, you know, it may well be that that apprenticeship in textiles and fashion is a range of micro-credentials depending on which part of the supply chain you're in. And you've got to have the flexibility to stack them up based on what the industry is actually doing. So I think it's a really good idea. It'd be a great case study for how to modernise the system as well.
That's a really good idea, Jennifer. Does any of the other panel members have a comment that they'd like or to share with Leila regarding her question? Ines?
I just say it's a great idea. Just to echo Jennifer, I think the success in construction has shown that it can be broadened out across the economy. And I think it's a terrific idea. The other point I'd make is that all the data we're seeing is that the fashion and textile industry is certainly on the rebound and on the way back. We're seeing that through a whole lot of collection of data, and that's in large part because it's gone through a pretty torrid time and a big dip, but it's actually moved up the value chain. And I think that through doing that has led to greater focus on skills and then a much stronger output. And that in the fashion and textile industry in many ways is an exemplar to other sectors around what can be done. So, but I think it's a fantastic idea, Leila.
Thank you, Ines, and thanks, Leila. And I think Australian-made textiles and clothing is certainly, I think, the most sought-after product at the moment. So thank you very much, Leila.